at one time, the December 31st Women's Movement had more than 2 million members. I don't know which other organization, whether it's the Trade Union Congress, whether it's the Chambers of Commerce, or whether it's the Union of Trade Associations, GUTA of Ghana, that has that kind of following. Maybe some of the political parties may have such following when we vote. But this obviously was, DWM was kind of a wing, of a women's wing of the NDC. And that's why, unfortunately, after the NDC lost the 2000 elections, that particular organization was targeted by the MPP at the time for destruction. And I would say that, to a large extent, they succeeded in that particular goal in physically dismantling that organization through more than 11 different state entities that were investigating the December 31st Women's Movement. She invited me to be an advisor to the movement at that time, simply because they were undergoing a huge amount of frustrations and challenges at the district level, at the BNI, at the CID, with all regional ministers, with all district assemblies, DCs. I mean, every organization, SHRAJ, they're under various investigations to weaken them, to cripple them, and to make them ineffective. But while the organization had political objectives, it was mostly a self-help organization for women's advocacy and rights, helping women to learn about basket weaving and beekeeping and all kinds of agriculture, productive work that made them economically empowered. It was about the empowerment of women. So that's what Nana Konadu stood for.
And what you also stood for was loyalty, because you were right beside her all throughout these challenging moments. And I believe that you have fond memories of her through these challenging times. What did you see? I mean, what do you remember vividly as one of these stories that you would forever keep with yourself?
Well, I don't know that so much is a story, but my primary area of interaction, well, first of all, we were in the same school together in Achimota School. She was 2 years my senior, just as President Rawlings was. She was President Rawlings' classmate, and so that's how they met each other and eventually fell in love, got married. And so those of us who went to school with them, have followed their story and their progress and their successes and challenges and difficulties. But I think the particular series of events that I made us get very close together was when they chose to appoint me as ambassador to the United States in 1994, and I also chose to organize an 8-city, 10-day tour of the United States for them. That's President Rawlings and Mrs. Rawlings. And during that period, she came and lived in the residence. That's where the ambassador lives. That's where I lived with some of her staff. And so we got really very close during that period and engaged in a whole lot of banter and conversations. We rode around in the same car or cars for many, many weeks. Then, of course, visited these very impressive cities in the United States, which I called at the time 8 capitals of various kinds in one country, United States. That's the financial capital of the world, the diplomatic capital of the world, political capital of the world, energy capital of the world, commodities trading capital of the world, automobile manufacturing capital of the world, and then entertainment capital of the world. Mrs. Konadu was there to meet Aretha Franklin and Whitney Houston and Diana Ross and all the celebrities of at that time, MC Hammer. Took photographs with most of them at the 25th anniversary of the Soul Train Awards. So that was a particular highlight of our relationship that I remember fondly.
Going into the future, how can we remember her? How can we immortalize her in your view?
Well, it's both a matter for the country as a whole, for the government of Ghana, of which I happen to be a part now by virtue of my being a special envoy of the president. But it's a presidential decision. Partly a presidential decision, but it's also a political party decision. As an NDC, as a party, can do a number of things to honor her. And then the people of Ghana, and the women of Ghana in particular, can also memorialize her in any range of ways. I don't think this interview will be the best place to explore all the variety of things that can happen. but anybody that agrees that she did make a very strong contribution to Ghana, even while she was First Lady for 19 years, and then subsequent to being a First Lady, even set up her own political party. She made all kinds of contributions, and I think the different kinds of contributions that she made, those who worked with her or who even just remember what she did, can choose in various ways to immortalize her. She was also a graphic artist and a designer in her own right. She was very fashion conscious, a great dancer. She loved dancing a lot. So the cultural people, the ambassadors of creativity, can also find various ways to immortalize her. Some people have already shown me paintings that they've rendered of her, and I think that's one good way of immortalizing her.
We're grateful, and indeed, together we will continue to remember her. Any final words, anything you want to share with the people of Ghana before we go?
Well, I think one of her favorite slogans, which she tried to leave behind for all of us, is for us to be bold. So only yesterday I was asking one lady in a certain scenario to be bold, so that when you see things going wrong in your country, be bold. When you find that galamsey is something that is hurting us, be bold. When you find injustice in your neighborhood or through a police officer misbehaving, be bold. Challenge the system, challenge the system, challenge the system. That's what Nana Konadu would like all of us to do.
And I'm grateful so much. We'll see you again. Thank you so much for talking to us. That's the Honorable Ekwow Spio-Garbrah.